Good morning, afternoon, or evening, cottagers. Welcome to the 2023 Summer Farming Direct, a list of games I think might be interesting to those of you who enjoy growing plants or raising livestock. I tried to focus on games that launched this year, are slated to come out in the next few months, or are upcoming. As a bit of a disclaimer, this is by no means an exhaustive list of every farming, gardening, or ranching game out there. Rather, this is simply a list of games that I personally have been really excited about and wanted to share with all of you. If you found a game that you really think I'd like, feel free to share it in the comments section and we can gush over all the amazing games coming out soon. With a rather long list, I've broken up our games into a few different categories to make it easier to find what you're looking for. And don't worry, I'll be providing links to all of the games in the description box below. With all that intro out of the way, let's get right into it. First up, we've got traditional farming sims, which focus on managing a farm, and though the settings, storylines, and mechanics might vary, these are your bread and butter games with lots of familiarity. Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. It's no secret that Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life was my very first farming sim, and remains one of my favorites today. So when Marvelous announced that they would be doing a combined remake of A Wonderful Life and Another Wonderful Life, you know I was losing my mind over it. Launched on June 27th, this lovely remake stays true to the original with some quality of life upgrades that make it a true joy to play. A Wonderful Life is a strong narrative farming sim that requires you to get married at the end of the first year to progress, but don't let that stop you. The Valley has a truly amazing cast for you to meet, plenty of different animals to raise, and a staggering number of crops to grow, hybridize, and cook with. A game you definitely need to experience if you love the genre and never got to play the original. You can grab it now on PC via Steam, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Fae Farm. This magical farming sim has a bit of a fairy twist, and allows players to join up to 3 of their friends in farming and adventuring together. With exceptionally cute animals, dungeons that look to be full of mysterious folkloric entities, and an entire cast of sweet characters to befriend and romance, Fae Farm looks like an excellent addition to your farming sim repertoire. You'll be able to snag this one on September 8th, and it is confirmed to be launching on both PC and the Nintendo Switch. At this time, I am not sure if crossplay will be available, so it might be prudent to decide ahead of time with friends which version of the game you'd like to go for. Coral Island. This island farming sim launched in early access on Steam in October of last year, and though they've been adding seasons and new features, I've been wanting to wait until everything is in before I start my adventure. I am still holding out hope that this farming sim will potentially leave early access this year. That said, I've heard nothing but good things about this one, and I'm really excited to dive in and get farming once Coral Island is ready for its full launch. Lychee Town. It might sound a little silly, but I've got my eye on this one because of trellising. This farming sim looks to take place in rural China, and much of the game is informed by the developer's own experiences in the countryside. In the trailer, the player character is shown growing a plant which trellises up a building, even growing onto the roof. I would love it if more games incorporated a variety of growing techniques like this one. You'll be able to try this one out in Q4 of this year on Steam. 2 new games in the Story of Seasons series. This year, Marvelous had a showcase wherein they announced that 2 brand new games in the Story of Seasons franchise are in development. They also mentioned that one of the 2 is going to be a multiplayer farming sim, which has me incredibly excited. We got co-op in Doraemon Story of Seasons, Friends of the Great Kingdom, but I'm really excited to be able to bring more than one farmer friend along for the ride. No word on launch dates yet, but we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled. Fields of Mystria. Inspired by 90s anime like Sailor Moon, the character art in Fields of Mystria transports me right back to my childhood. This game has an ambitious cast, including 12 romanceable characters, the ability to breed rare color variants of your animals, seasons altering not only the landscape, but also character outfits, and magic you can unlock to help you both at home on the farm and abroad while collecting supplies. Fields of Mystria is definitely one to keep a close eye on. Currently slated for 2024 on PC, I am very excited to be riding the nostalgia train with this one. Echoes of the Plum Grove. A la Paper Mario, Echoes of the Plum Grove is a farming sim with 2D characters in a 3D world with a bit of a historical twist. The characters all appear to be wearing American colonial period clothing and potentially using period horticultural techniques. Taking place on the imagined island of Honeywood, this game is meant to span multiple generations instead of following a single farmer's life. Currently aiming for a 2024 launch on PC, I'm very excited to see what historical elements are included in this one. Next, we've got Farming with a Twist. This category is all about games whose primary focus is the growing of crops or raising of livestock, but with a particularly large deviation that mixes up the traditional formula. This might be a game focused on ranching and herding, or perhaps introduces dungeon crawling or roguelite elements. Definitely check out these titles if you're looking for something a little off the beaten path with your farming sims. Everdream Valley. We got to play this animal-focused farming sim a week after launch, after being gifted a key by the publisher, and though we only got a few hours into it, I'm definitely excited to see what else is in store for us. A bit like Story of Seasons' Pioneers of Olive Town, this farming sim introduces us to the concept of different breeds of animals, which is perfect for players who love collecting. As an added twist, instead of just sleeping the night away and waking up the next morning, this game allows the player to dream, taking on the role of one of their own animals and getting to play lots of different mini-games. As a quick note, this game is definitely more for players who want to explore and collect all the different animals rather than a game for those who love farming sims with a large cast to befriend or romance. Everdream Valley is currently out for PC and PlayStation. It also has plans to launch on the Nintendo Switch. Gaucho and the Grassland. This is a game I'm really hoping is good. This farming sim takes place in Latin America, and together with your trusty dog and horse, you'll be doing a lot of herding livestock and interacting with some local superstitions. I love that farming sims are starting to break out of the typical locations, and I'd really love to see games with unique settings like this one do well. Plus, we need more ranching titles out there that focus on the animals and not just crops. No word yet on the release date, but you can play a short demo on Steam today. Critter Crops. This cute, Halloween-themed hand-drawn farming sim is all about growing spooky creatures and revitalizing the local town. With different crop rarities, a host of lovable characters, and plenty of mysteries to uncover, I'm looking forward to seeing where this one goes. With the release date set for Q4 2023, I'm hopeful that we could see it releasing on PC and the Nintendo Switch in time for spooky season this year. Project Dragon. This is the name currently being given to a new Rune Factory game that was announced this year at the Marvelous Showcase, which is set to take place on an eastern continent. There is no release information yet, but I'm sure fans of the Rune Factory franchise will be excited to get their hands on a new non-Western setting. Rune Factory 6. Also announced at this year's Marvelous Showcase, Rune Factory 6 is currently in development. We were given some information that the new setting is the western continent of Edonia, but little more than that. I've been focusing much of my energy on working through more Story of Seasons mainline titles, but I've been meaning to pick Rune Factory up again sometime soon. Perhaps one of these titles will be the one for me. Grimoire Groves. If you love a little action with your farming, the colorful Grimoire Groves might be right up your alley. With a charmingly bright design, this roguelite dungeon crawler is not dissimilar to Critter Crops, as you aim to grow creatures rather than normal plants, and have them aid you on your journey through a magical forest. We don't have a release date yet, though you can play a demo on Steam today. Grimoire Groves will be launching on PC and the Nintendo Switch. Pumpkin Panic. If you like farming, but also like being terrified, Pumpkin Panic might be just the perfect game for you. Working on a quaint farm in the middle of the forest all seems relatively normal at first. Until the creatures arrive. Part farming sim, part survival game, this one is sure to get your heart rate up a bit more than any of the other games on this list. Currently out for PC on itch.io, you can try this one out for yourself. Moonlight Peaks. As a big fan of spooky season, my interest was immediately piqued when I stumbled upon this vampire-themed farming sim. Being able to grow things such as Venus flytraps and belladonna reeled me in further. Plus, playing as a vampire means that you'll be farming by night and sleeping through the day in this one as you set out to prove to Father Dracula that vampires can live a peaceful life. And hey, maybe you'll romance a werewolf or two while you're at it. Still in the development process, we don't have a date set yet, but you can wishlist it on Steam now. Our next category is farming on the side, which centers around games that do not have farming or ranching as a focal point, but rather offer the activity as something you can do on the side. Perhaps not for the hardcore farming sim specialist, but excellent for those who might want to branch out into other genres while still keeping a cozy activity in their back pocket. Songs of Glimmerwick. This magical academy sim promises to have plenty of horticultural pursuits. You'll be attending classes, learning about the academy's secrets, and doing some gardening, all with the help of your music-based magic. The art in this game looks absolutely amazing, and I never thought I'd be excited to go back to school, but Songs of Glimmerwick has me amped about doing homework. No release date yet, but I'm still crossing all of my fingers and toes that we might see it launch this year on Steam. Palia. This multiplayer life sim looks like the perfect game to play with friends, offering gardening, fishing, hunting, crafting, and decorating your very own home. Palia sees humans returning to the land after a long time away. With a world to explore, NPCs to romance, and friends to meet, this game promises to be a cozy time. Currently releasing an open beta on PC on August 10th, the game also plans to release on the Nintendo Switch at a later date. Kibu. I discovered this one at this year's Wholesome Direct, and quickly added it to my own list, mainly focusing on your journey as a solitary red panda monk tending to your temple, perhaps growing some tea, and heading out into the forest to find some ancient spirits. Kibu looks to be a lovely adventure. With gorgeous vistas that look screenshot worthy, I'm excited to see where this one will go. No release date mentioned yet, but you can wishlist it on Steam today. Solarpunk. A multiplayer survival game, but with a theme that lends itself more towards agriculture than most, Solarpunk is looking like an excellent game to pick up and play with your farm-loving friends. Taking place on an archipelago of floating islands, it seems like this one will have plenty to explore and, knowing my friends, plenty of opportunities for mischief and laughs. Recently announced to open in late 2023 for early access on PC, and with a full launch in late 2024 on the Nintendo Switch, PC, and other consoles, you might be able to play this one soon. Mirthwood. This is a game I stumbled upon recently, and with a release date set for 2024, I was shocked I hadn't heard about it sooner. Mirthwood is an immersive medieval fantasy sim where you can go the more action-oriented route of fighting monsters out in the woods, or you can live a more peaceful life on a quiet homestead. I'm excited to see how this one progresses, and it could be an especially good one for folks who like to have a variety of paths open to them. Be sure to check it out and maybe wishlist it on Steam. Our final category is tangential green games, which might not be explicitly about farming or gardening, but often have a setting or premise that relates to these topics. These games are excellent for farming sim enjoyers who want something different, but still want to be working with plants or animals. Terra Nil. A game that had been on my previous list. Terra Nil is a fun reverse city builder all about making the world a little greener. We got to play through it on launch day, and though we took it easy in the more low-stress modes, there were varying levels of difficulty for those who really wanted to puzzle their way through all of the challenges. Overall, I had a lot of fun jumping in on this one, though I do wish that one day they'll release more maps so that we can get even more biomes to explore. I think Terra Nil is definitely worth a look if you're interested in city builders or puzzle games and want a bit of an eco-friendly twist. You can snag it today on PC and Netflix. 24 Solar Terms. This sweet puzzle game is themed around Chinese farming proverbs, and as such includes a variety of beautiful landscapes to explore. The puzzles and mini-games draw attention to the small seasonal shifts that so many of us miss in our daily lives. Although definitely not a long game, it's well worth the time it encourages you to step back and tap into nature. Out now, you can pick it up on Steam. The Garden Path. This one gives me strong Animal Crossing vibes in terms of a world that keeps going even when you're not in it. The Garden Path is a lovely game that takes place in one giant garden, and you get the chance to run into a varied cast of characters who might be visiting you. Recently, they introduced a co-op mode that will allow you to traverse the garden with a friend. Full of different events and activities, I'm hopeful that we will get to experience everything the garden has to offer this year when it launches on PC and the Nintendo Switch. Summerhill. This was an unexpected gem that was announced during Day of the Devs this year. Summerhill is an incredibly atmospheric herding puzzle game, all about reuniting your scattered flock of sheep and exploring a gorgeous landscape. I was just about jumping out of my seat for this one and immediately signed up to receive any crumb of news available. Although there's no release date set yet, you can bet that when this game launches, I'll be there. You can, however, wishlist it on Steam today. The Guardian of Nature. An exploration puzzle game about a botanist, The Guardian of Nature looks like a lovely adventure through an incredible magical landscape. Playing as Henry, you gain the ability to change size in order to complete solarpunk puzzles on your quest to save the Mother Tree. I'm excited to partake in this adventure when it launches on PC and the Nintendo Switch. Revenant Hill. Created by some of the folks responsible for Night in the Woods, Revenant Hill isn't explicitly about farming, but it seems to have a rural farming community component. The trailer included scenes that gave me over the garden wall vibes, which is always a good sign. I'm really excited to learn more as this game continues in its development and eventually play it when it launches on PC and PlayStation. Tiny Glade. Is there anything better than quietly building small castles and crumbling ruins in a pastoral landscape complete with adorable sheep? Tiny Glade is meant to be a relaxing building game with no fail state, only cozy experiences. Plus, you can pet the sheep, so really this game is already a winner. Set to release in 2024 for PC, I'm excited to add this one to my relaxation rotation. Botany Manor. If you like puzzle games, gardening, and 19th century country seats, then Botany Manor might just be the game for you. This game gives me strange horticulture vibes, though without any of the murder and general spookiness, where you have to acquaint yourself with all manner of interesting plant species in order to solve the puzzles. I'm hopeful that the game might be released this year on PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. Kamairu. A bit of a combo between gardening and ecosystem restoration, Kamairu is all about raising frogs and restoring the biodiversity of your local wetlands. With such sweet amphibian friends, I don't think this will be one I'll be able to pass up. Currently, it does not have a release date set, but you can wishlist it on Steam in the meantime. Honeymancer. Not your traditional beekeeping sim, Honeymancer is all about playing as a bear, who is also a witch, and using honey-based magic to defeat the evil deforestation robots that threaten your home and hives. With wave-based combat, this game had a rather addictive demo when I played it, and I'm interested to see what new spells and enemies will be added to make the game even more robust. We haven't gotten news on a release date quite yet, but you can download the demo today on Steam to check it out for yourself. And that concludes my Summer 2023 Farming Direct. Can you believe there were 30 titles all said and done? Were there any games in particular that interested you? If so, I've included links to all of their Steam pages below. Be sure to let me know in the comments below if there were any games that you've been enjoying or are eagerly awaiting. And with that, I hope you all have an excellent rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, and I'll see you all again soon.